Hi Trader, Tina here, ShortMeTina.com. I wanted to do a quick analysis on the S&P 500 and why I am relatively cautiously optimistic, as I've indicated before, going into the second half of the year. So that's like from June to December, potentially into January. Obviously, things can change, but for now, what I'm seeing is relatively bullish action, and I'll show you why. So, and I know a lot of people are calling it like sort of like a bear market rally. I'm not necessarily on that fence, although it could be, but I'm again more inclined to be bullish from the second half going forward, as I indicated to my members several months ago. So this is the S&P 500 daily chart. It's dating back to September of 2021, but I just really want to pay attention to price action beginning around here, right? Around December of 2021, when we more or less topped out, hitting a high of, I want to say, 479. We peaked somewhere around there. So I'm going to draw this trend line here, all right? I think that's a really good area. And so from December until most recently, so about 9 or so months of action, we've been in a downward trend, right? The SPY has been in a downward trend. We've had situations where we've sort of broken out of that downward trend. I want to say in March to around April of 2022, short-lived, came right back in, retested that upper end of the trend line several times, and then we're finally here. We finally broke out in July of 2022, which is about actually looking at the chart, it's only a few days ago that we actually broke out of this 9-month downtrend. Now there can be a scenario where the SPY actually dips below like it did back in March of 22, March of this year, but I don't think that's the case, right? We're trending up, and I expect just based on, again, what I see emerging, and we can also look at this as a short-term rounding bottom. I expect the SPY to revisit the high of around, well, not necessarily 479. In the shorter term, I think we can revisit this high here that we experienced in March of 2022, which is around that 460 area. I'm not quite sure in terms of percentage what it is from the close today of around 420, but I can see us revisiting that. So in the interim, again, I am relatively bullish on the market. So just to recap a little, again, we peaked in December of 2021, late last year. We had about 9 months of decline. We've made attempts to break out of this downward trend to no avail, or it wasn't sustained, I should say. We tried in March, couldn't sustain that. We kind of fell back down, made attempts here to break through, couldn't do it, and we finally did it a few days ago, and it seems like we've been trending up since then. So as long as we can stay above this trend line, I think it's good. Granted, like I said before, we can pull back to the base here, which is around 395 to 400. That's a possibility, but as long as we stay above here, I'm inclined to remain bullish. All right, really quickly, some other stocks that I'm paying attention to. RobinHood daily chart up on the day about north of 5%. We closed at 1058. Again, this is a daily candlestick chart, basically dating back to when the stock IPO'd back in August of 21. You can see, so what's actually developing in Hood is actually a relatively decent and bullish chart, right? I'm not inclined to go long here. I actually want a massive pullback. I don't know where and when and how it's going to come, if it's even going to come. But when I say massive, I'm talking about like a 30+% pullback. If it can do that, I'd really go long. And I've been waiting for that to happen. I don't know why I think it's going to happen, but I believe that it is. So again, you can see here, since we IPO'd, we've essentially just trended down. We're kind of doing that sideways action thing, which I think is really good in terms of technicals, because for me, what it means is that, selling is kind of drying up, things are leveling out, and usually when this happens, right, decline, leveling out, you usually kind of like reverse course and up. And so I'm kind of waiting on that. Before we do that, I'm hoping we can pull back again, perhaps even to this base here, which is around that $6-7 area. If we can pull back to there or fall down to there, I think that'll be like a really sweet spot for me, and that's where I would potentially go long. So have my eye on Hood, not in it as of yet, but I do like it if it can pull back like 30 to 40%. What else? All right, final one here for me, BBIG daily. So right now the stock is halted clearly a speculative play. Another stock that I'm hoping that it's going to decline even further. I know it's down something like, I don't know, 80 or 90%, possibly even more since it peaked back in September of 21 at around $8 or $9. I feel at some point, either in after hours or pre-market around this time when the stock had the run, we actually saw like around $11. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Anyway, so we had this decline. Similarly, right, you have the decline and you have the leveling out like we saw in Hood, except it did this right here. It actually broke that leveling out area. So stock is halted, not quite sure why. I think the SEC is like demanding or requiring some things from the company. So closed at 71 cents, or it's been halted at around 71 cents. I think that there's going to be a scenario where the stock, when it finally resumes trading, it's going to open up down massively. Not for long. I'm talking about maybe that swift 30-40%, potentially even more. And if that happens, once again, I think that'll be a sweet spot for you to easily get sort of that dead cat bounce to about like 100% return, potentially even more. But I think at minimum, you're looking at about 100% return if the stock opens down around 30-40% when it finally resumes trading. So I have my eyes on a lot of other things. I'm in a few stocks right now. But those are the ones that I've been paying attention to or checking, I would say, just about every single day. Obviously, the overall market SPY. You should know my philosophy. If you don't, make sure that you sign up at our website, ShortMeTina.com. But paying attention to the SPY, really looking at BBIG and RobinHood. So I'm going to cap it there. Maybe I'll get on the mic in another few weeks, but still here, still present, and that's what I'm paying attention to. Talk soon.